Welcome to Malifaux University. 614, Gaining Ground Scheme, Information Overload. This is another straightforward scheme that doesn't require combat skills or brute strength. What it requires is scheme markers. A whole lot of scheme markers. The reveal condition for information overload is scored at the end of the turn. You must have at least 3 friendly scheme markers on the enemy half of the table, but however many you have still has to be more than the total number of enemy scheme markers anywhere on the table. If your opponent has 1 or 2 scheme markers on the table, all you need is 3. If your opponent has 3 scheme markers out, you need to have 4. If she has 4, you need to have 5, and so on. And all yours must be on the enemy table half. When you reveal the scheme, you remove just 2 of your scheme markers to score the victory point. The end condition is pretty much the same, but actually a little easier. You still have to have more friendly scheme markers on the table than there are enemy scheme markers, but now it doesn't matter where your scheme markers are, and you need only 2. If you have 2 scheme markers out and your opponent has 0 or 1, that'll work. If your opponent has 2, you need 3, and so on. You still remove just 2 to score the victory point. Remember that models with summon upgrades or tokens cannot interact and don't count for friendly schemes or strategies for the turn they are summoned. If you're counting on summoning models that will drop scheme markers for you, you'll have to wait at least 1 turn before they can do that, unless they have abilities or actions other than interact that can drop scheme markers. I'll take a brief moment now to thank all those who were patrons at the time this video was made, especially Sergey, Keith, Alan, Jeremy, Mikolai, Tom, and Travis, and many more at the free student tier. Your support is essential to bringing these videos to life. Let's see this in action. Colette Dubois' performers are in an encounter with Dashelbarker's guards, and the Arcanist player has chosen Information Overload as one of his schemes. Just about all of the performer crew has the Don't Mind Me ability, which allows them to take the interact action even while engaged, so the Arcanist player is confident he'll be able to score with Information Overload. As expected, the performers have no problem dropping scheme markers. They spend the first couple of turns making their way across the table, and in turn 3 they drop a total of 4 scheme markers on the guard half of the playing area. The guard crew has dropped only 2 scheme markers, so the performers have more. At the end of the turn, the Arcanists reveal the scheme, remove 2 of their scheme markers, and score the victory point. Seeking to thwart the Arcanists' attempt to score the end condition, the guard player drops scheme markers like they're hot, leaving 7 on the table by the end of the last turn. The Arcanists have only 6 scheme markers on the table, and only Shadowlark is left to activate. Even though she can interact while engaged by Taggart Queeg, she cannot drop 2 scheme markers with the interact action within 4 inches of one another. Not to worry, though. She interacts to drop 1 scheme marker, tying the guild with 7 scheme markers, and then discards a card to drop another scheme marker with her Thief's Pocket bonus action, giving the performer crew 8 scheme markers on the table. At the end of the game, the performers remove 2 of those scheme markers and claim the second victory point. That's the Gaining Ground scheme, Information Overload. Pick up a printable set of all the markers and tokens you need to play Malifaux in the Wargames Vault. If you haven't already, join us on Patreon to receive early, ad-free access to all new content, and be sure to visit the Malifaux University gift shop for the latest in Malifaux-themed shirts, hoodies, drinkware, and more. Links are in the notes below. And remember, play friendly games, keep it simple, and have fun.